Level 1. The Mailroom Ghost. This is you. You're currently standing in the windowless basement of 601 Lexington Avenue. You aren't wearing a Tom Ford three-piece, and you certainly didn't get here in a town car. You're wearing a polyester blend suit your uncle gave you for a funeral, and you've spent the last 3 hours battling a jam in the industrial-sized Xerox machine that smells faintly of ozone and broken dreams. One in the suits world, Level 1 isn't being the new Mike Ross, because Mike was a genius. You're the person who ensures the genius gets his subpoena on time. You are a mailroom clerk at Pearson Hardman, and to the people on the 50th floor, you are essentially invisible. You're a ghost in a cheap tie. Your world is measured in blue folders and inner office envelopes. Your morning doesn't start with a high-stakes deposition. It starts with a mountain of legal briefs that need to be hand-delivered to the senior partners' desks before they arrive at 8 a.m. You spend your lunch break eating a lukewarm bagel from the cart outside, watching the black SUVs pull up. You see Harvey Specter step out, looking like $1 million and acting like he owns the sidewalk. You realize that the distance between the basement and the corner office isn't just 30 floors. It's a different universe. At Level 1, you learn the most important lesson of the firm. Information is the only currency. You hear the gossip before the associates do. You know who's getting divorced, who's billing fake hours, and which junior partner is about to be backstabbed. You're holding the secrets of the most powerful lawyers in New York in your hands every time you push that mail cart, but you don't have the leverage to use them yet. That quote is taped to your cubicle, right next to a schedule of the subway times. You're tired, you're underpaid, and your shoes are scuffed. But as you look at that elevator button for the 50th floor, you aren't thinking about quitting. You're thinking about how to get on that elevator without a mail cart. You're at the bottom, but you're in the building. And in this world, that's the only thing that matters. Level 2. The Bullpen Grunt. You've finally traded the basement for the 46th floor, but don't get too comfortable. You don't have an office. You have a cubicle in the bullpen. A glass-walled purgatory where the sun never seems to set because you're never allowed to leave before it rises. You're now a first-year associate, and you've traded your uncle's funeral suit for something off the rack from Brooks Brothers. It's better, but compared to the partners walking past, you still look like you're playing dress-up. Your life is no longer measured in mail folders. It's measured in billable hours and the amount of caffeine your heart can handle before it starts skipping beats. At Level 1, you were invisible. At Level 2, you are a target. Specifically, you are a target for Louis Litt. You live in constant fear of hearing those 3 words. You just got lit up. He doesn't care if it's 9 p.m. on a Friday or your birthday. If there are 10,000 documents that need to be coded for the Hardman versus Memorial Hospital case, you are the one doing it. You've learned to recognize the sound of his heels clicking on the marble floor from 50 yards away. It's the signal to look busier than you've ever been in your life. Your entire existence is now document review. You spend 16 hours a day staring at digital files, looking for the one smoking gun memo or the inconsistent signature that will give Harvey the leverage he needs to win before he goes to court. You aren't arguing in front of a judge, you're arguing with the vending machine, because it swallowed your last $5 at 3 a.m. Welcome to the food chain. You're no longer a ghost, but you're definitely a cog. You're learning that loyalty in this firm is a one-way street until you prove you're indispensable. Your friends from the real world? You haven't seen them in months. Your dates are now just quick calls in the file room that end with you saying, "I can't make it, I'm stuck at the office." You're starting to realize that to survive Level 2, you have to stop caring about your life outside these glass walls. You start to dress better. You start to talk faster. You start to realize that in this world, you don't play the odds, you play the man. You're exhausted, you're stressed, and you're pretty sure Louis is tracking your bathroom breaks, but you're no longer pushing a mail cart. You're in the fight. You're a shark in training. But right now, you're still just bait. Level 3, the Senior Associate. You finally have 4 walls, a door that actually closes, and a view of Manhattan that doesn't involve a brick wall. You've officially graduated to Senior Associate. Your name isn't on the wall yet, but your face is finally known. You've traded the off-the-rack suits for custom-tailored navy and charcoal. You look like a winner, and more importantly, you're starting to act like one. But here's the catch. The higher you climb, the thinner the air gets. You are no longer just a cog, you are a weapon. At level 3, you aren't just doing research, you're the one Harvey Specter calls when he needs a problem to go away quietly. You're the one who walks into a room of 20 people, drops a manila envelope on the table, and watches the color drain from their faces. You've learned the art of the Specter bluff, knowing exactly when to show your hand and when to act like you have an ace up your sleeve that doesn't even exist. You manage the bullpen. You are now the Lewis Lit to a fresh batch of level 2s. You're the one handing out the 3 a.m. assignments and telling them, I don't care how you do it, just get it done. Your life is no longer about billable hours, it's about results. You're handling depositions, leading small-scale negotiations, and learning how to lean on people. You've realized that the law isn't about what's right or wrong, it's about what you can prove and who you can squeeze. You've had your first God complex moment. You just won a multi-million-dollar settlement for a client who was definitely guilty, and instead of feeling bad, you felt powerful. You celebrated with a $500 bottle of scotch, sitting in your office at midnight, looking at the city lights. But don't get arrogant. At level 3, you're in the dead zone. You're too expensive to be a grunt and too junior to have real protection. One mistake, one lost client, or one missed detail in a merger, and you're the first one thrown under the bus to protect a senior partner. You're working 100-hour weeks, your personal life is a graveyard of I'm sorry texts, and you've started to realize that the people you work with aren't just your colleagues, they're your only friends. You're addicted to the adrenaline, the power, and the prestige. You're so close to becoming a junior partner you can almost taste the expensive mahogany of the boardroom table. You're no longer just playing the game, you're starting to control it. Level 4, the junior partner. You just signed a check for $500,000, and surprisingly, you're smiling about it. That was your buy-in. You are officially a junior partner at the firm. You've moved past the pay-by-the-hour lifestyle and entered the world of profit sharing. Your office is bigger, your suits are bespoke, and you finally traded the desk lamp for a designer chandelier. But here's the reality check. You didn't just buy a seat at the table. You bought a target on your back. At level 4, you aren't just answering to Harvey anymore. You're on Jessica Pearson's radar. And Jessica doesn't care about your feelings or how many hours you stayed up last night. She cares about the bottom line and the reputation of the firm. You no longer do the work, you originate the work. If you aren't bringing in new clients, big whale clients with deep pockets, you're just an expensive liability. You're spending your nights at galas and charity auctions, networking with people you don't like, just to keep your billables high enough to justify your title. You're in no man's land. You're too high up to hide in the bullpen, but you aren't a senior partner with named status yet. You're caught in the crossfire of every power struggle in the office. When someone points a gun at your head, you don't just give up. You take the gun, or you pull out a bigger one, or you call their bluff. In level 4, people will try to use you as a pawn. A senior partner might ask you to forget a document or misplace a file to help them win a coup. You have to decide, are you a loyalist or are you looking out for number 1? One wrong move, one bad alliance, and your $500,000 buy-in becomes a very expensive lesson in unemployment. You've started to realize why Harvey and Jessica are the way they are. The higher you go, the lonelier it gets. Your associates are terrified of you, your seniors are testing you, and your rivals are waiting for you to trip. You don't have hobbies anymore. Your hobby is the firm. Your family is the firm. You look at the empty wall in the lobby where the firm's name is etched in glass, and for the first time, you don't just see Pearson Specter lit. You see a gap where your name belongs. You've tasted the power of being a partner, and now junior just isn't enough. You're a stakeholder now. But in this game, if you aren't moving up, you're moving out. Level 5, the name partner. You aren't just in the building, you are the building. You step out of a private elevator and the entire floor goes silent. You don't look at the associates, and you don't have to check in with the secretary. You walk toward the glass doors of the lobby and you see it, your name, etched in frosted glass right next to Pearson, Specter, and Lit. You've reached the top of the mountain. You are a name partner. Your signature can move markets, your phone calls can stop federal investigations, and your wardrobe costs more than a level 1 clerk's annual salary. At level 5, the law is something you haven't practiced in years. You don't go to court unless it's to drop a nuclear bomb on a rival. Your life is now a 24/7 game of high-stakes chess. You've realized what Jessica Pearson always knew. Being the boss isn't about being liked, it's about being feared enough that no one dares to move against you. You finally understand that famous line, "Life is this, and I like this." But you also know the part he didn't mention as often. The view from the top is breathtaking, but the wind is cold.